Okay, today we're going to be talking about rounding decimals. So I'm going to go back just a little bit and let's do something I think you all know something about. So let's look at, say, a number line. And on a number line here we have 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Okay, and you all know that if you go from 1 up to 2, you've moved one place. And if you move from 2 to 3, that's another one step. But have you ever thought that in between the 1 and 2, in this little space here, that there's actually more space in there? We could actually fit more things. That's where our decimals come in. So let's go ahead and kind of zoom in. So I'm going to use part of a number line again here. And let's just say we'll do 3 and 4. So we're looking at the space between 3 and 4. Well, we can divide this space between the whole number 3 and the whole number 4 into 10 parts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the fourth one is 10. So we would call all of these tenths. This is 3 and 1/10, 3 and 2/10, 3 and 3/10, 3 and 4/10, 3 and 5/10, etc. So when we're looking at rounding numbers, we could always use a number line to help us think about this. So so we've got this number line to help us figure out what happens in between these 3 and 4s. Now, just for a matter of record, just so you know, in between these two lines, 3 and 3 and 4/10 and 3 and 5/10, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little lines as well. And those 10 little lines would make up our hundredths. Yeah, our hundredths. And then even crazier is in between these two lines here, we can divide those up into 10 pieces, which become our thousandths. So we've got a lot to look at. Let's go on to the next. So let's just review our basic rounding rules again, just like we have with whole numbers. All of you know that if you have any number that you're going to round, let's say if we're rounding 46 and we want to round 46 to the nearest tens, because the fours in our tens place, the rule is that if the number to the right, this number to the right, is 4 or less, you keep the same. And if it's 5 or more up, it goes up. The next number goes up. So in this case here, the 6 is 5 or up, and it tells the 4 here to go up, and that becomes 46 is closer to 50. Hopefully you know how to do this. And had it been 43, well, the 3 talks to the 4, and it follows the rule. Well, it's 4 or less, so it stays the same. So the 4 stays the same, and then this number becomes a 0. 43 is closer to 40 than it is to 50. So now, let's look at this. Let's take a number, and let's say, well, let's make it this way. How about we do 4 and 3/10, and I want to round to the nearest whole number. So the nearest whole number is the number in the ones place, and we just follow the exact same rule. If it's 4 and below, you keep the same, and if it's 5 and up, you go up. So it's always the number to the right, okay, which in this case is my 3. So the 3 is 4 or below, and so therefore it talks to this number and says, hey, stay the same. So the 4 stays the same. But the decimal now just becomes a 0. And for all practical purposes, you don't even need the decimal. We would just write this just simply as 4. Let's try another one. Let's say we have 75 and 7/10 rounded to the nearest whole number. Well, the nearest whole number is 5. So that means that we look to the right, and that's a 7/10, and we follow the rule. So 7 is 5 or up, so it means take this number here and make it go up. So the 7 of the 70 is still the same. We don't touch that at all. But the 5 ones turns into a 6, and again the decimal just goes away. You could write it this way. It's perfectly fine. It's true, but it goes away. You could have just written this just as 76. So anytime the rule is to go to the nearest whole number, you look to the tenths place value, and that adjusts your ones column. Okay? Just as if we were on the number line. Okay? So let's look and see how this works out. Okay? Back on the number line, and we started with 3 and 4, so let's do that. Let's go back here, and I divided all the space between 3 and 4 into 10 whole pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 4 is the next 10th piece. So let's say if we have a number that is 3 and 3/10, I want to round this to the nearest whole number. So let's see where we're at. So we start here at 3, and that's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. So right here, we're looking at this spot right here. So on the number line, is this line here closer to 3, or is it closer to 4? Well, clearly we can see this is closer to 3, so that's the reason why this makes this number go back to 3. Okay, so 3 and 3/10 is actually closer to 3. All right, for this episode, we're going to go and round to the nearest tenths. The tenths, all right, so we're rounding to the tenths. So let's look back at our number line, and we're going to go ahead and take that same number line we've been working with, okay, but in this case, we're going to have 3 and 3/10 is right here. And this is going to be 3 and 4/10. Wow, so we've gone back out. This is those in-between little lines. Okay, so in between 3 and 3/10 and 3 and 4/10, we also have 10 segments. And 3 and 3/4 is the 10th one. These little lines here are our 100th spot. Okay? So we divided our number line into now hundreds, because if this is 3 and 3/10 and this is 3 and 4/10, all the little lines in between become hundredths. So if I now have a number that is 3 and 37 hundredths, well, let's see where that falls on the number line. So this is 3 and 3/10. This is 3 and 31 hundredths, 3 and 32 hundredths, 3 and 33 hundredths, 3 and 34 hundredths, 3 and 35 hundredths, 3 and 36 hundredths. Here we go. 3 and 37 hundredths is where we're ending up. Okay, so on our number line, is 3 and 37 hundredths closer to 3 and 3/10, or is it closer to 3 and 4/10? This is how our rule works. So again, if we're rounding to the nearest tenths, that's this number here I pointed to, you always go to the right, and this number makes the decision. This number is higher than 5, So it says to this number, go up, which would bring us to 3 4/10, just like that. All right, where we left off last time is we ended up at 3 37/100. All right, so it's hard to believe, but this is crazy. We're going to round to the nearest hundredths now. So in order to get to the hundredths, we have to look at the thousandths. So in between 3 37/100, we get all the way down here to 3 38/100. We can divide the space in between this into 10 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then finally 10. So we now want to round to the nearest hundredths. Is this going to become closer to 3 37/100 or closer to 3 38/100? So our number is going to be 3 and we got to have the 3, we got to have the 7, and then let's go here to the 5. 3 and 375 thousandths. So let's see here. So this is, so we start off here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right here, that would be 3 and 375 thousandths. Well, it's slap dab in the middle. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. So what we have to do is, because it's straight in the middle, the rule is it says if it's 5 or up, go up. That means that we're going to move this to the 3 38/100. Okay, the 7 becomes the 8, and the rest of these numbers stay the same. Just like that. All right, and the last example, I just want to demonstrate just what to do when you have a tricky question like this. So if the directions were to round to the nearest tenth, okay, this is 3 97/100, round to the nearest tenth, well, again, the number to the right is 7. The rule is if it's 5 and up, go up, so that tells the 9 it's got to go up to, well, what comes after 9? 10. Well, you can't put a 10 here, okay? You can't write a number like that. That's no good. We can't do that. So, I'm going to erase that there, okay? So what has to happen here is the 9 does become a 10. It becomes a 0, the decimal, and then that makes this 3 actually become a 4. So, whenever you see questions like this where there's definitely a 9 involved, it means that even the next number to the left now, okay, going to the left, it's going to be affected as well. We're going to see some of these. You're going to be practicing these. So don't let me trick you and pay attention. Good luck with them. Okay, finally, I want you to get out a sheet of paper, pause this video, and I want you to write down each of these questions, where I want you to make all of these, round these to the nearest whole number, all of these to the nearest tenth, and all of these to the or this 1 to the nearest hundredth. Please bring these to class tomorrow. Good luck with it. If you need any practice, you can always make a number line or follow the rules. Remember, look at the number to the right that you're opposed to what you're rounding. Okay, good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow.